Yes, they told me. Hello, I'm Marcia James. I'm EFMP Family Support. We actually have two coordinators here. There's also Miss Lily Tarver. She's our other EFMP Family Support Coordinator here at Ramstein. And joining us is Miss Jamie Summers. She's our EFMP Medical. And we're going to do navigating in the EFMP. I'm gonna talk quick over our slides because we have a lot of new things in EFMP Medical, especially when you're PCSing. And so we're gonna do a lot of stuff on the new stuff. So let me get my slide and we'll go through them quickly. Hold on a second. And share screen. Bear with me, when you don't do this time, you forget. Okay, there we go. And our mouse is funky today too. So there we go. Okay. So navigating EFMP, family support, part of the house. What I'm going to go over just a little bit is who we serve, what's our roles, what are our responsibilities, and what we're really about, which is resources and services. There are three parts of MP. There's EFMP My Support, which is us. We housed in your Airmen and Family Readiness Centers on your installations. If you're at a joint base, it would be a military family ready center. Then we're also EFMP Medical, which that's just Miss Jamie Summers is here. She's going to talk more in depth about that. They're about identification and enrollment. And then you have EFMP assignments. And she's going to talk about too, because she pretty much does that part here too. Okay, so Airmen and Family Readiness, they wish for us to read this because this is what our mission is here. It is we implement and maintain the family support, community support entity of the Air Force EFMP in coordination with medical and assignments components by enhancing the quality of life of our family members with special needs. That's why you see a lot of workshops, a lot of events hosted by EFMP Family Support. Who we are, and who do we, more importantly, is who do we assist? We can name all of that. We assist anybody who gets a hold of us and has a family member with special needs and needs some information and resources. We get other questions too, so we help. Presently, there are this many active duty that are enrolled in the EFMP, which means about 55,000 family members, because your active duty people might have not just one dependent, they might have one or two or three. Ramstein has over, well, that number has changed now, I'd update that. We have well over 2,000 Q coded, and we also assist 172 GSUs. I'll have to update that slide because we are growing again. These are our guidance. What we do, we offer family needs assessments, services plans. We coordinate with local, federal about information and referrals. We offer workshops, education briefs, and we provide referrals to the Respite Care program. When you are PCSing, you're going to see something called the DD 3054. Your active duty personnel will see this. We do an individual service plan kind of questionnaire. What it is it's getting you ready to go to the next base. It's your questions going on in your head about how can we help you and best assist you and our counterparts at who we do a warm off to. This is what it looks like. So we offer a warm handoff. We offer parent personal workshops. We offer events. Today we had a movie event. Next week we have another workshop. Community inclusion, working on the base and off the base, and with our community agencies. Again, it's all talking about that quality of life piece. We do a lot of events and camps and things. These are some of the things that we've done in the past. What we have coming up is how to be angry better, which is phenomenal. It's an author. She's actually doing this training for us for free, and she's going to give you a lot of little tips on that it's okay to be angry. It's just how to be angry better. Okay. Some of the resources, rights law, military one source, military education, specialized STOMP, if any of those, again, I'm going quickly because we have a lot with medical that needs to go through. But again, any kind of resources that you think that you possibly want, just get a hold of us and we will try to see what we find out for you. Military one source is a fantastic resource. Also direct step, we also have modules that you want to do special needs, you can also do. Get a hold of us and we can help you out with that. The Respite Care program is offered by the child care, by the Child and Youth programs. If you're interested in that, let us know. There's also legal support now. Let us know and I can send you that site if you need some information, and it's free. Again, that's how to get a hold of us. And oh man, get on our Facebook page because we post a lot of good resources out there. And any questions, I know I'm going quickly. You all have my email, email me. You know, I'll reach out to you immediately and try to assist. Going on. It looks good. It has all of them, so I'm trying to get the. My mouse is standing again. Yeah. Give me check-ins. A book would help. We had to use that speaker.
Yeah.
The new one's down in the other classroom. So.
Oh, okay.
See, my mouse is at. Yeah. What I want it to do is to come down in this little corner.
Right, right. There we go.
It's this one, right?
There we go. Yeah.
There we are. Okay. EFMP Medical, Miss Jamie Summers.
Okay, do you want me to click my slides or just
Just
point to you? I'll point to you if we don't mess up the mouse. Hi, everybody. My name is Jamie Summers. I'm the Special Needs Coordinator for EFMP Medical. I'm a licensed social worker with a specialty in medical social work. Next slide, please. So I'm going to backtrack just a little bit because I think it's really important to understand in order to best understand the program as a whole, but especially the medical piece. So the Exceptional Family Member Program is actually established by US law and a congressional directive. They tasked the DoD, Department of Defense, to develop guidelines and regulations that enabled or proved rather that the Department of Defense services were following US law. It established head offices at AFMIRA and AFPC. AFMIRA is Air Force Medical Command and AFPC is Air Force Personnel Command. And those top units combined and made what's called the Central Cell. And that's an important name to remember. It'll come up again later. And then they hired and trained professionals at every base throughout the military. And in the Air Force, these professionals they start out in an EFMP medical office that's usually associated with military medical treatment facility. So at Ramstein here, we have our Ramstein clinic. There are many bases stateside that do not have clinics any longer, so it'll be associated with their medical groups, but it might be located outside of a clinic. And they hired these trained professionals to execute the program and also to advocate for families and between families and the medical professionals, the providers that have a piece in this puzzle to advocate between the two. And so the professionals specifically that they hired were licensed social workers. Some places there are nurses that fill that role with case management experience, and special needs technicians. And so the whole purpose was that they wanted family members to have the same medical rights and protections that active duty service members have. And this is broken down into accessibility and suitability of care support. So making sure that the care that family members need is accessible, and that care that is accessible is suitable, that it's working, that it meets their specific needs. And suitability is not just determined medically, it's also determined by a family member. And that's again why there's a special needs coordinator here to advocate for you and help you I really encourage everybody, just like Marcia said, if you have a need or you have a question, just contact her and then she'll fit it in and figure out what she has for you. Same thing here. If you have a problem with accessibility, with suitability, with a care issue, just get with our EFMP medical office and we'll help you see where that fits within the program. But when family members have a specialty care need, the law and the regulation direct that they be identified and enrolled and in the program, and that's mandatory. And it's actually not a decision of a special needs coordinator. It's not a decision even of a PCM. The PCMs are guided that they have to put forward a referral and be prepared to do a family member medical summary. It's called a DD form 2792 for any family member who has specialty care needs. We'll get into what that is. And they have to give it to the EFMP office. The EFMP office has to review that, compare it to the regulation. And then when there are any questions, any concerns, a family member says, I don't know, then it goes up to the Surgeon General of the hospital. Every base has one, an SGH, and there's even MAGCOM level SGHs and Air Force Medical Command level SGHs. They can review any enrollment and or disenrollment requests or reviews that people are concerned. I don't know that meets the letter of the regulation or my story as a family, but there is a regulation that guides us. So it's driven by that. Identification is very important. It's mandatory for us to enroll, and that opens up the specialty care family member sorry, these are all new slides for me. That opens up a lot of resources and some mandatory programs. One is the Family Member Travel Clearance Program, which I'll get to when I talk about the assignment section. It also makes sure that you have the ability to turn down an assignment and be given a new assignment, which again, we'll get to in the assignments portion. So a family is not forced to go, or an active duty service member is not forced to go without their family to a new assignment where their family can't be supported. It prevents families from having to remain at assignment to finish that assignment if they have needs that aren't being served. And so that's called an EFMP reassignment. And it also gives that family access to a plethora of programs. So I do love that the Airmen and Family Readiness Centers that house the EFMP Family Support, they really work together to offer services to everyone. But there are some things that you don't have access to unless you are enrolled in EFMP. There are special TRICARE funding programs called TRICARE ECHO and access to a few other services, and then the ability to have me go to bat for you with a nurse case manager, with TRICARE Direct, with the contract, with the person that reviews, to make a complaint, to get you a better care, to help with referrals, all kinds of things to make sure that we are doing all we can to get you the care here. And then if that isn't working, we can to get you to a place where you can get the care. So a lot of patient advocacy, and I just want to emphasize one more time, I am not deciding and looking to hunt people down to enroll them. I'm looking for people, and I definitely want to aggressively be prepared to collect all those and to get those enrollments done so that people have access to care. But we don't decide it on our own. It's done based on the regulation. Same thing for disenrollment. And so we have an annual contact program, an annual update, but as you will see throughout my briefing, the process is the same at every base, but every base is very different. And here at Ramstein, I'm not saying this to complain, I'm saying this to encourage you to reach out, to use ICE comments, to talk to your command. I would really wish I could be more to more people, and I'm constantly pushing up documentation to show manning limitations. But Marcia mentioned that there are 172 GSUs. That stands for geographically separated units. So I am the EFMP Special Needs Coordinator all by myself for every Air Force member stationed at Landstuhl Regional Medical Center, at Vogelway, Pulaski, Kapaun, Stuttgart, Rota, Spain, lodges in Portugal, embassies throughout Africa. It goes on and on. So that's what we mean about a geographically separated unit. And overseas, we have We have a higher number of reassignment needs, a higher number of patient advocacy needs. Germany is a wonderful place to live, and German medicine is great, but it's very different from American medicine, not just in presentation, but also in standards of care. So there's a lot more work that's involved when it comes to advocacy, working on that accessibility and suitability of care. Can we get you matched? Can we get that improved? Or are the doctors recommending that we get you to better care and then you come in and you're a part of that and we're helping you? So that's bigger here. And then on top of that, because we're overseas, every birth or death, marriage or divorce, adoption or change of custody can end up in the need for a command sponsorship package. So it's not just inbounds, and command sponsorship doesn't exist in the 48 continuous states. In Hawaii and Alaska, you have to be approved for travel at a higher level, like an overseas base, but they also are obviously American states. There's not command sponsorship. But so there's those pieces. So I'm trying to continue to push back, and it really does help me. Pushback might be too aggressive. I really think this program is great. I'm trying to show them why I think we need more at Ramstein, and I'm so thankful for Marcia. But so please don't ever feel like you can't advocate, and not just advocate for your family within EFMP, the process, but within Ramstein Medical Clinic. I have wonderful nurse case managers, TRICARE representatives, primary care managers, medical review officers, my medical director, our new SGH. We just got a new SGH who's equally fantastic as our last one. I'm very blessed. We're very blessed as a community. But I know everyone. I know if some of you are on there, or some who watch the program later have an issue with that, or it's been a struggle for you, please let us know, because I am working hard to get higher numbers. So I am doing identification and enrollment. I also have a piece in many different things that you'll see on a slide, and patient advocacy, matching to referrals and resources, which a lot of times is sending you to Marcia and Lily. Assignment and relocation support, that's the assignment piece, which will come next, but we have a huge piece in it. And then accessibility and suitability of resources. There's that medical piece. Do we need to get a better referral? Do we need to get nurse case management? Do we need to get your whole story? And we're also gatekeepers of existing services, giving you the ability to get more services. I mentioned TRICARE Echo. And then reporting new service needs to policymakers and resource developers. So the numbers and the things that we do go back. Say we were a piece of multiple inbound clearances where we explained, hey, we're really struggling with pediatric neurology right now. I know TRICARE said that these places have it, but this is why this place can't do it. And this place doesn't accessibility of care, and this place. And so we get that back up to them. It doesn't happen immediately, unfortunately, but it lets them know, hey, Ramstein's an important base. This is an important theater. We need to be able to get families or troops there without a limitation. We want all families to have that access. Maybe we need to work on, getting back to a better TRICARE contract with someone, or look for more people, or bring in somebody to launch regional medical center. So there's a lot of things that get reported back up to let them know. And what we're doing gets reported back up to, why EFMP Family Support might need new help, why the base needs new resources. So it's exciting. And I know it doesn't feel exciting, and we'll get to that if you've been identified and you weren't prepared or you don't agree. So we'll get to that for sure. And then the last piece is medical. It often happens to be the first and the last piece of EFMP, and I call us the gatekeepers, but a huge part of it is what Marcia started with, and that's that family members should have top community support regardless of their location in the world. So I sometimes use language that I wish I didn't, because I'll say, oh, I think it's easier in the States. And that's not really what I mean. I think as Air Force families, even when you're in the States, when you're moving constantly and resetting, finding, a new dentist, getting a new school, all those kind of things, there are many challenges. But one challenge I mean when I say that about overseas is, although the German government is wonderful and there are great supports and they really, really try to support the base, we do not have what you would have in one of the 50 American states, United States of America states. We don't have the city and the state and the federal government programs. We don't have state mental health or YMCAs or things like that. So although we can access some things, and I think that's a big part of all things that the base tries to do is to match us to those resources. Language difficulties, support difficulties, how funding happens. EFMP family support is so, so important overseas because there aren't those extra easily accessible services off base. Slide, please. So it's a 3-tiered program. I say that it starts with medical because it starts with that identification and enrollment. We do annual contacts. We help with the family member travel screenings and service availability notices, which is what shows you what your next base has to support you or doesn't have to support you. I went over EFMP family support and all the wonderful things they do, informations and referrals and agency resources, military child education, education briefings. They have so many great programs here, and not just briefings and programs and events they put on, but they have tied us into amazing resource for families with autism, families with ADHD, families with mental health needs, families with adult dependents who want to enter the workforce. I mean, there are programs that we are tied to now. It is just incredible. They come and they ask medical, what's going on? What are the needs? What is Ramstein? You know, because there's HIPAA, they don't have access to everybody's folder in that sense. So we sit and meet and I say, I really think we need some more support in this area, in that area, and they make it happen. It's beautiful. And then Respite Care, she talked about, we don't have it at the level as some stateside bases, but we do have a program through the child care centers. Yeah. And then EFMP assignments. I wish they didn't just say EFMP assignments. I wish they talked about family member travel clearance and assignments. EFMP assignments are when you get a travel non-recommend and you need to reassign out of that, or you get a reassignment. But everyone, regardless of EFMP, regardless of Q code status, has a piece in a family member travel clearance, big, small, depends on your family, when you are going to an overseas base. So that's another difference, which is why I'm saying bring in those comments about having trouble getting a hold of an EFMP, wish we could have more contact. We'll let you know, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I'm asking you to help out. Because we have to clear everyone going to an overseas base. Okay, every base has people going to these bases, but we have to look at so much and be a part of looking at all the people coming here. And so the EFMP assignments, or the assignments part of EFMP, actually starts with virtual EFM or virtual MPF now. It's going to be really cool. I'm going to tell you guys about it in a minute, but there is a piece where you might be working EFMP medical. Okay, so our EFMP medical office is located in the Ramstein Clinic, building 114. We did, a long time ago, we used to have walk-in hours, and then they realized that wasn't very efficient. We were able to see 8 clients where if we had done better process improvements, we could see in that same time, or we could help in that same time, a lot more clients. I won't pull up exact numbers, but you know, we have better guides, better internet access to our things, briefings like this, and systems in place that help. However, sometimes you need to talk, and sometimes you need to meet with us. And so when I talk about how to reach us, that we don't normally say, come down to this room anytime you want, or pick up this phone anytime you want. You certainly can get access to our phone numbers, but I will tell you that I'm almost always with a client and I can see both of my phone lines ringing continually. I told you about the 172 geographically separated units, and they can't walk into us. So you know, they're calling, commands call me, doctors call me, TRICARE calls me. So it can be very difficult to reach me. However, I can read your email and then set up a time to call you. I can read your email and send you an email back and say, hey, Friday, I have a 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, you know, so you certainly can ask for that. That's just not something that we can initiate. Then in COVID, they said no walk-ins whatsoever. We were still there working in our office, and we're still there now, but they've changed from talking about walk-in, not walk-in. They say we are not a walk-in service, and that is true, but that doesn't mean you can't access us. So I'm the licensed social worker, special needs coordinator. I have Major Lisa Howard, who is our medical management director and can back me up in my absence. I have Tech Sergeant Rachel Derry, who's our NCOIC, and she's one of 2 special needs technicians. And then Ms. Nurjan McLaughlin, she is our other special needs technician, and she's a local national. So that's really helpful because she's multilingual and has been here longer. You know, the military changes out, and Nurjan has had a chance to stay here a lot longer. So all family member travel screenings, which we're going to get to, and I have to put this here because people think of EFMP sometimes as just that. So those are initiated by the sponsor. It used to be all kinds of different ways that people would end up coming over to us, sometimes right before their final out, when it would just be discovered or shared with them by MPF. And I'm not saying fault, the system was just messy. You need 1466, go to EFMP, and 1466 can take 2 to 6 weeks. And so it was like, you can't just come up to us and then get back to your final out appointment. But they've done so many great upgrades listening to you. So not only do I want you to let me know and nice comments when you need more access to us, you have suggestions to us, you want things from us, but Central Cell also has a way you can contact them. And because of great updates they've gotten from special needs coordinators, SGHs, clients, AFPC, MPFs, family support, all this, they've developed this new system. So sponsor receives their assignment notification. It comes at least in the form of an email notification of assignment. It also apparently can be found by them going into their virtual MPF, but the email is going to direct them to that virtual MPF. Virtual MPF will have a mandatory briefing they'll do online. I think it might even be a video. I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I've been active duty, so I've never had to do this. But they'll be directed to that for the briefing, and then at the end of the briefing, it will direct the sponsor to the My Vector Air Force website to begin the process. And so the entire process is done through My Vector. And it's not just the sponsor, adult family members will also have access through that the sponsor can ask for. So that is a big piece that we do, and we'll get to that. All other processes and requests to include enrollment and disenrollment should begin with an email to the EFMP medical organizational box. We've got it tidied up. We've got it certified. It can take any kind of encryption. It can take any kind of email. It doesn't have to be a sponsor emailing. It can be spouse. It can be an adult family member. We welcome that. But if you reach out to this email, that is constantly monitored, and we have a process improvement system where we go through it, and the first technician or person that sees it responds immediately. So if you could go to the next slide, please. And when I say immediately, upon reading it, our goal is to get to every email within 24 hours, 72 on weekends, but we try to stay absolutely never going over 48. And that doesn't always happen. Again, send those comments. Each email should include at least the following information, because when you do this, I can come back with a better answer that might jump us ahead 2 or 3 emails or 2 or 3 phone calls. So it's the sponsor's full name and rank. Even if you're the dependent at home, you can say, you know, my spouse is, or my parent is, or, you know, my sponsor is, you know, the full name and the rank. An identification number for the sponsor or the spouse. For someone in the family, it can be the last 4 of the social security number, can be someone's DOD ID number. And then the process being requested, if you already know, I need command sponsorship, I need a newborn command sponsorship letter, I need TRICARE echo for ABA therapy for my child. If you don't know exactly, and you just say, hey, you know, a question can be anything from, I'm not sure why I'm enrolled, I think this wasn't done right, I don't understand this, or I'm not sure what I need, but this is what my goal is, or request for a phone call or an appointment. You know, I would like the special needs coordinator to call me. I'd like a technician to call me. I'd like to be able to come in. We of course encourage everyone, you know, but you guys know you don't need us to tell you, you know, please make sure your printers work and you have access to a scan, talk to your units. But sometimes people just get to a point where they're like, can I please come in? I'm not able to understand this document, or I'm not able to get this printed, or I'm not. So just reach out and let us know. Each email will be answered depending on how much detail we have, if we can, all the necessary forms and instructions for the support requested. And then that paperwork and the completed package can be submitted to us electronically too. They're really pushing the way up at the Central Cell for everything to be virtual and electronic, while still keeping the ability for face-to-face when it's needed. But it actually makes the process much faster for you. When I got here 3.5 years ago, I was booking people for an appointment for, you know, the following Thursday, and then getting them in that appointment and finding out that they just needed command sponsorship documents and to get started. So there are a lot of things we've done by your email and your information. Sometimes I'm putting in a TCON for an appointment for your family, and we can really streamline it. And you can still get to us face-to-face if you need to. Next slide, please, Marcia. So here are some of the other processes, some of the other things, but just like Marcia said, if it's medical, if it's EFMP, if you're not sure, if it's something you think about medical social work, reach out. EFMP enrollment, updating your EFMP statuses, annual contacts. That means once a year, your sponsor is going to be messaged, and we're working to put this also in a virtual way that the dependents can access, where it's, has anything changed? Has your phone number changed? Your address changed? Was someone born that we didn't catch? Did someone, leave to college, or, anything like that? Someone has I don't need physical therapy anymore. I need this, that goes back up to updating your EFMP status. I think I might still need to be enrolled, but these specialty cares went away. These got added, that kind of a thing. And then EFMP disenrollment requests, every single one gets reviewed and looked at. And that's important too. We are never going to queue out. We're not going to stop being your EFMP medical office just because you're disenrolled, but it's very important that we keep that updated. And so we want those. TRICARE echo enrollment. I talked about ABA therapy, and Marcia's going to help me. Applied behavioral therapy. Yeah. Okay. And I always forget what the last A is. Applied behavioral analysis. Okay. I'm like, why didn't they say ABD? But anyway, so that's a separate money bag from TRICARE. And so there's a separate process with that. When they first came out with it, they realized it was wonderful. It was really great, but TRICARE wasn't prepared, and they were concerned about what it would do to their funds. So they had to, get extra support, and it became an offset of it. And it has some other things in there, special medical equipment and things like that. Command sponsorship, newborn letters, DROS extension requests. This is something we're constantly working on and updating too. But some people end up extending their DROS by 6 months. Some end up extending it by a year, some by longer than a year, but usually that ends up being in place, continuation of tour and IPCOT, which is another assignment here. And those are often run very similar to incomings, but a little bit different because we already know you, right? You're probably already established in care that's working, or you probably would have come to find me to ask me to help you get better care or to get reassigned. So there are some differences, in that sense. We know you a little more personally, and we know if what we have is working or not. So additional EFMP resource referrals. That's where I'm saying, oh, you guys have to talk to Marcia, or I want you to talk to the Wounded Warriors if your dependent happens to be a previous military, and all kinds of places like that. Oh, the school liaison office, a lot of people we can match you to. And even within that, PEEP can refer you to for certain medical services that can be medical, but can also be served on the economy. Or not in the economy, in a non-medical fashion, like the military family and life counselors and the chaplains resources and things like that. We keep those updated. Travel non-recommended appeal support. I left that on there because that's how it still is on the main slide, but travel non-recommend is changing. When you find out that your dependents are not approved for travel because of medical, and you want to submit an appeal, you want to submit information to say, I understand what you said. I said my family needs this. You said we don't have this. However, it looks like maybe I need to send you this updated document, or maybe I didn't understand this, or you didn't, it's an appeal. So we support you with that. EFMP and humanitarian reassignment support in the Army and other services, they call it compassionate reassignment support. So anytime your family has a need, that means that you're going to look to end your DROS early, end your assignment early, and get out of here. And counseling for concerns and advocacy. And so that's that last piece. Most of the other slides that they give us to give us ideas on how to brief don't include this, but I think this is really important because I want to make sure. Sometimes people send me clips of book responses, and I don't read those because I feel like Facebook is a personal, someone is choosing to share socially or with their group how they feel. Not that I don't care, it's just I'm not going to go on and respond to this because that would be inappropriate. However, I always, when someone tells me, I say, if you know this person, please have them email me. I'd like to set up a time to call or just email or meet if they want, because I really believe something special about this program. And that is that, it was created with set regulation that I think, and the system and the backups and the supports and the professionals that were hired that can help us understand and get to a better place. A better answer, a better understanding for whatever someone's issue is. But that's going to take some advocacy and some understanding in that human element piece and what's been working. You know, paper, medical records, one-on-one with one person doesn't always give a whole picture. So certainly talking about anything, and that's where I said your email doesn't have to be for a specific request. It can be just a concern and just a question. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is how people say, how did I get identified? You know, how did I get identified? So you're identified by the medical management team. That's a really nice way for me to say nothing, right? Let me explain to you what that is. That means that every has a different system, and EFMP referrals can come from TRICARE referrals that are put in for specialty care service. And the reason why, you guys, is this family, this person, this individual needs this specialty care. They don't want any of the gates to be closed because they don't have enrollment. They don't want anyone to go without knowing this family and how it's going and be prepared to support them. But it doesn't go to the world. It just comes into the EFMP office. It can be from TRICARE. It can be from emergency room reports. It can be from host nation hospital or off-base hospital. We have all kinds of positions like utilization managers who have to, for the medical group, because the Air Force has to take care of their families, and the Air Force has to work with TRICARE to make sure that that insurance benefit is available and working for you guys. So it can come from nurse case managers, it can come from a primary care manager, it can come specialty care provider, it can come from a civilian provider that knows EFMP is and wants to make sure. Usually then it's done to the member or the sponsor, and then they are encouraged to come to us. A command does it sometimes, a chaplain, and of course the family them can say, I think I need to be enrolled, or I think I need to be disenrolled, or I heard I was enrolled, you know. So it can come from all kinds of places. And when we get that information, we quickly check it against the regulation. And this is what I mean. In order to properly enroll, we have to go through a process. So if process is delayed, if that process isn't working as fast, we still recognize the need for enrollment, and you know, according to the regulation from the initial evaluation. However, we ask for a 2792, a family member medical summary. So it's a form that is filled out by a little bit by the sponsor, by the dependent if they're over the age of 17, and by the primary care provider. A specialty provider can also add to it, that explains what the needs are, the symptoms, the needs, if there are diagnoses that's associated with that, and then what the specialty care requirement is. And then there's a second signature for the adult dependent, or for the guardian of the dependent, where they sign and say, I certify that this is an accurate and complete report. Or they can go, oh, I think the doctor got that wrong. I haven't had this since 2015, but you know, you missed this, and so it's a back and forth. So when we get that final 2792, then we sign it, stamp it, certify it, and we're putting you in our system. It's all protected. You know, Marcia doesn't have access to it. You know, there's no access except within EFMP medical or EFMP medical office. So even another one can't get into it until you are involved in a clearance going to that specific base, if you should PCS there in the future. But so that's how it comes to us. That's how it's answered. Again, you have a chance to say, you know, I don't understand this, and we'll walk through it with you. I don't agree with this, and we can send it back up again. We can ask the SGH to review it. We can tell them why. However, the regulation does spell out medical needs, mental health needs, educational needs, and adaptive service needs. And enrollment, like I said, is mandatory for family members who meet criteria. So you do not have to use the services that EFMP provides, but the enrollment piece is mandatory. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is a brief reflection of what the regulation says. So enrollment criteria, essentially life-threatening conditions and or chronic medical and physical conditions requiring specialty care. So some people, when they read this, they get a little wrapped up in the first phrase, potentially life-threatening conditions. And they say, Jamie, my asthma, my ADHD is not potentially life. I'm doing great with it. I'm so glad. That's very, very important. And you definitely might not be a family that needs as much service, as many services as others. However, it's and or chronic medical conditions or physical conditions which require specialty care. And that specialty care is any specialty care at any frequency. So if it is anything outside of needing to see your primary care manager, and they say you need to see your primary care manager more than once a year for an annual checkup. That's not exactly true, because I can get a cold in 1 month, I can get a stomach in another month. That's not what it is. But when there ends up being either a chronic or a condition that doctor is able to support you with using backup from a specialty service that you might not ever see. And one example is you can have anxiety that is well managed with a prescription that has gotten to the point where it's managed by your PCM. But that's medication management for mental health, and that PCM has to have an associated mental health backup for you. And so even though you're saying, well, I haven't even been in to see him, we call in refills, I've been doing really great at this, that's still considered specialty care. For me, when I was a dependent, and still I go to dermatology annually, and thankfully I haven't had anything for a very long time, but because I go to a dermatologist and not just to my family care doctor, that is specialty care. So we can go into that, like I said, one-on-one with anybody who has questions. A mental health condition, this is broken down because mental health and some chronic medical conditions keep you in longer as a backup, even when you've stopped treatment. Special education needs, an individualized education plan, or for 3 years old and younger, an individualized family service plan, or 504 plan with medical care or with behavioral support, or not all 504 plans are enrollable. Not all diagnoses of ADD and ADHD, but if you meet certain criteria within it. Same for asthma, adaptive equipment as CPAP machines, wheelchairs, hearing aids, and then assistive technology or devices and services. Same thing, along with, and one example I give is being able to have a special device, maybe in the home that helps with something, or in a classroom that helps with hearing. That's usually on an IEP, or requiring environmental architectural consideration. So modified housing. We've had requests for air filtration for people that are highly asthmatic and allergic. And that's a really tough one here, because we can't control whether or not there are air conditioners in the housing that we have available to military families. Maybe a wheelchair ramp, things like that. Okay, thank you. So this is briefly how it goes. The SNC for Q code letter to EFMP assignment section, that's the MPF. It doesn't say who or why, and it just puts a Q in the service member's record, which says this person has an assignment limitation code to say, hey, don't cut them orders without making sure their family has had a chance to see if the next place can care for them. And that's what that is. We can provide a copy to everyone. We keep a copy on file, and again, it can always be discussed what yours is about, when you had it. We can usually go in. I have people call me all the time, Jamie, I didn't even know, and I'm able to say, and I'm not calling out other bases, I hope bases do us too, hey, it looks like this happened in 2017 at Travis. A lot of times people are like, huh? It just wasn't ever disenrolled or was cleaned up. But next slide, please. So these are a lot of questions that I'm going to skip over, but I would love to be able to go into this in as much assignments piece. And I do encourage, if you have any questions about it, just ask. Or we got key spouses on here. We get a lot of first sergeants and commands on here. I love that. If you ever have questions so that you can better talk about it, please, please, please. And you can also invite us to come talk to your group. Okay, sorry, next.
And if you need her email address and you don't want to look it up, you have my email me and say, hey, I want to get a hold of Jamie, I'll connect you.
Okay, this is going away, so that's exciting. You can go ahead away from that. Okay, go away from that. So any of those questions, you just reach out from the email. And I think I've pretty much already talked about all of them. Okay, EFMP assignments, next slide, please. So a new family member travel clearance process is being released on 30 August. We had a new one last year, and they already updated it to make this new one. So everything is computerized. No more family member travel screening worksheets. No more Air Force Form 1466s. No more paperwork. The sponsor will initiate the process as soon as he or she receives an assignment notification, and that'll at least be an email if they're not regularly going into virtual MPF. Sponsor will be directed from assignment notification to virtual MPF for that PCS assignment notification briefing. And then virtual MPF briefing will notify sponsor to log on to MyVector to complete the initial screening. They do have to use a government computer and a CAT card initially. They might have to build their profile in MyVector. And then the MyVector screener, and this is super important, especially for EFMP enrolled families who know it's going to take or could take a little bit longer. The MyVector screener should recognize EFMP families, and it should preload 8 months prior to the DROs if sponsors want to start early. So again, it not be that assignment notification, virtual MPF briefing, and then MyVector. You can go, you know what? I know this is coming. I'm going to jump onto MyVector as a sponsor, and I'm going to look for that EFMP button so I can get this started 8 months prior to DROs. Okay, so I'm in MyVector now, whether it came through the assignment notification or I'm getting a jump start. I'm in MyVector as a sponsor, and I have this screening. I'm going to do the initial screener, and it's going to let me know if there's more screening required. If additional screening is required, the MPF will be, if no additional screening is required, then that system will let the member know and notify the MPF. And direct them, allow them, and direct them, you can issue orders for this individual. So that's pretty exciting. Otherwise, there will be screening questions. The reason why that's exciting is not because that person doesn't need screening. It's okay if you need screening. The reason why is that even that process used to be, then you'll go here and you'll get a form and it's signed and stamped, and then it'll go here, and then you have to take it there, and you have to, so the way that it does that screening and then immediately tells the member, no further screening required, your MPF is being notified. I'm really excited. I might be a nerd about it right now, but this is just going to be really great. Otherwise, there'll be screening questions, and then your in MyVector you'll be able to continue to follow it, and it'll show under review. And based on those screening questions in MyVector, you know what you need to do. So some sponsors say, oh, do I have to do this? How can my wife see it? My wife wants to see it. I'm working, I'm telling her on the phone, or, you can do that. This system is going to have an option to allow you to an adult dependent email, and they will give that person a code, and those adult family members, spouses, adult children can get into the system and do the screener also. And so when that screener happens, then MyVector is going to know exactly what your specific family needs to do, and it's going to be in the system again. Next slide, please. So there will not be, as you're preparing your case, you are not going and making an appointment with the PCM. You're not grabbing a 2792 and filling it out. You're not finding the family member screener and filling it out. You're not going, getting the dental form. There aren't a place where you're going to get the forms. You're following, and you don't even have to call us. You don't have to come into us. You don't have to email us yet. You certainly can if you have an issue, but you're just following this computerized model. And when you are done, there's going to be a place where you can add extra comments, by the way. You're like, oh, what if it doesn't do all my things? There's going to be a place where you can add extra comments. So you can bring in your adult dependents, you can add extra comments, you submit it. You're going to see when it comes to me at the SNC, the special needs coordinator and the special needs technicians. We're going to review your submission, check for additional documents needed. The central cell will want medical records from off care accessible in what's called Haynes or JLV and translated and uploaded. If referrals and the relationship between the provider and the base are working, they'll probably already be there. If not, that's when we're going to try to catch it. We're going to try to assist you, or we're going to let you know, hey, due to German law and standards and things like this, we need you to contact. We need you to get it. You need help with translation, or it's taking a while. We work with you and with your PCM. And then we'll add some ICD codes. That just means that if in the system it asked you about things and it asked you about diagnoses, and you said, I know I have atopic dermatitis, but I don't know what the ICD code is, that that's our job as the medical office to put that in. And then when you've submitted what you think is good, we might have had a little back and forth with you. We think it looks good. You're going to see that it's then submitted to the central cell. The central cell has a great big team. And I put it on here because I like full disclosure. I think that's the way EFMP works. You're happy with us, you're angry at us, that's okay. You want to ask a question, you want to be very concerned, that's okay. There's a system you deserve to know. So there are 4 A's. That just means medical technician specialists that can do a number of different things. Dairy, Tech Sergeant Dairy, who's our NCOIC, is a 4A. They're going to pull claims data. This is a new thing. TRICARE claims information. So they're pulling that and clarifying needs with central cell nurses and physicians. This is in DC. So there's big teams of people. They will reach out and say, hey, special needs coordinator, special needs technician, sponsor, I need this record, I need that. There's case builders and medical reviewers and an interview function where they can contact you and say, hey, we want to understand this better. So you're watching it now. Okay, it's with the central cell. Do they need anything more from me? SNC, reaching out to me, my SNT. And then the central cell is going to in green or red and send it to a gaining base. And so I think that you'll be able to see that green and red because they're preparing that for the gaining base. You'll see it absolutely when the gaining base is done. Next slide, please. So the gaining base is going to receive the case. They do all the same things, but they're comparing it to what they have on base, what they have in the local area. They're going to confirm that it looks like a complete package. And what they're going to do is give that answer. This person needs this specialty care. Yes, I have it on base. Yes, I have it on base, but there's a wait time. Yes, I have it in the local area within 30 miles or whatever that base's standard is. Or I have it, but it's outside, or they'll have to wait a little bit. Or, they're giving their wants, which results in their red or green. Green light, go, red light, stop. We don't know that we can, care for you properly. So after everyone is confirmed, that base sends it back to the central cell. The central cell again reviews it. So this is trying to get you a better answer the whole way. That central cell is going to say, I concur, and that determination is released back to your losing base and you. Or I don't concur, we need to work with them. They're saying, Ramstein is saying no, but we thought, Ramstein had this care, so we're just clearing up. Okay, now we've gotten to a result where we all agree on what the red or green is. Next slide, please. When you get a green, that notifies the member and the MPF that relocation with dependents is approved to this location. So there's no more TR and TNR. It is now DA and DNA. Dependents approved, orders are cut. Again, that really excites me. You're not getting that 1466 and turning it in and, oh my gosh, I accelerate orders and my base didn't update them and all that kind of stuff. It's saying green, member, you're a go, losing base, you're a go, everybody, they're a go, and MPF, get those orders cut. Nothing to turn in. Isn't that great? Nothing to collect. And red is going to notify the MPF timeout and the active duty service member relocation with dependent is not approved to this location. And that notification is also sent to the MAGCOM. For us, it's at the USAFE MAGCOM, and outgoing and incoming commanders. So they're going to have better visibility, not on your whole case, just on that green. And then EFMP assignment navigators who are going to come in to support you, and our team that's going to support and advocate for you, because now you have some choices. Oh gosh, sorry, so sorry guys for going over an hour. We'll try to streamline this, or I will. Marsha's doing a great job. Okay, the central cell assignment navigator now going to contact these members that receive a DNA, a dependent's not approved, to offer their assistance for choosing how they would like to respond. And the main items are appeal or reassign, but again, full disclosure, I want to go into the details. You can respond to a dependent's not approved with the following: a reconsideration. I'd like to do my reconsideration option to put forth an appeal. Diversion, that's reassignment. Okay, I see it, maybe you're not thankful, maybe you're not happy. You can feel whatever way you want to feel about it. I support you, but maybe you agree that it looks like this isn't the base for us. So please help us find another one. And the assignment navigator will jump in because you have a say in preferences and where they're going to try to look for you. A deferment, this is not as common, these last 3, but I just want to make sure that you know. A deferment is, we're going to stay and finish our care. This can be hard to do. I have some people that have applied for it, and it does not seem that as many people are given this as reassignments, but I'd like to stay in my location. Essentially, this is one option: stay in my location, finish this care, and then perhaps try for assignment or try for this assignment again. And then cancellation, which is only if the person is not a mandatory mover. Okay, this isn't working for us, I want to cancel it. or travel unaccompanied, and some families decide that, as a sponsor, we want to head, my family's not going to come. Next slide, please. The appeal is supported, guided, and assisted. I want to make sure that I say it that way and not done. It's not done by me, but I assist you with it. So the member is instructed to contact the special needs coordinator and to mark in the system. If you don't mark in the system, respond, initiate contacts, or submit your documents within 14 calendar days, then the reconsideration is canceled and they think you don't want to appeal. This is where you certainly can appeal if you want, but appeals that work are ones that have new information, updates. I don't think you got our picture. There's this new report. Turns out we did see the cardiologist and we don't need weekly, or most people don't see weekly cardiology, but it's annual, or whatever it is. But we assist you with knowing what a good appeal, understanding why they said it. Sometimes that can be confusing inbound, so I can imagine outbound. And then submitting it so there can be a reconsideration. All other options to include reassignment after read or a dependent's not approved is supported, guided, and assisted by the assignments navigator, who can set up conferences or meetings with your family, even though they're not co-located. So that's pretty cool. Reconsiderations and appeals will end with either dependents approved, relocation with dependents is approved now to this location, or dependents not approved. Relocation with dependents is not approved. Next slide, please. At that time, the member, the gaining and the losing commanders, and the MAGCOM are all notified that the DNA is final, which means that the central cell EFMP, this is the final determination. Gaining commander and MAGCOM are given instructions for how to counter the determination. Some people are starting to refer this as a second appeal. I don't like using that terminology because it has nothing to do with the member. The member can't go, wait a minute, I want to appeal again. It has to be the gaining commander, the MAGCOM, the whole group as a whole can get involved and talk about countering the determination. But I don't know much more about this situation, only that it goes, above our heads. In doing that, I don't think it can create medical care that doesn't exist, but I do understand, and I think it's a good thing, especially as a previous dependent and a previous military personnel. I don't like that one entity necessarily is the end all. If there's command things that need to go, higher level military things that need to happen, know that there is something that can occur. I don't want to give false hope, and I want to make sure to let people know that I don't think it's going to be at a point where every single person can say, hey, gaining commander, just, figure out your magic. Because I know at least in overseas environments, there's a status of forces agreement. There are agreements, legal binding agreements between countries. And so there are a lot of things that might get in the way of that. And full disclosure, I want to make sure you know. And so that's something that the gaining commander and the MAGCOM have to initiate within that 7 days. So like I said, the second DNA may not be appealed by the member. If the command is not supporting command and MAGCOM driven counter, then the member only has the remaining choices: diversion, reassignment, deferment, cancellation, or travel unaccompanied. Next slide, please. This new process was designed to assist with no more getting orders without a proper clearance, showing up at your new base without command sponsorship or service availability or suitability, finding out at the last minute that you weren't properly identified, no more last minute notices that you need a 1466, no more running around trying to get an appointment, try to stand in line, trying to find the org box to send your paperwork to, no more other paper documents needed. Full disclosure, making sure, I left that out, but I need to put that in, making sure you guys can follow it and that the adult dependents have a route in there. And no more traveling despite DNA unless the command wing and MAGCOM work out with the central cell process briefly described above. So this is my ending 2 slides, and this is important because the central cell, EFMP headquarters for Air Force Medical Command and Air Force Personnel Command, and the people that are in charge of our offices at a headquarter level, want to make sure that families know. They did a Facebook Live event last night, you guys. A lot of our medical stuff is on Marsha and Lily's Facebook page too. So please encourage people to get on that. But they want to make sure that I share this with everybody, and that's that EFMP family members, not just command teams, not just sponsors themselves, have 24/7 access to resources via a DAF family vector website. So for clearances, your sponsor can give you a code to help you with that clearance portion of My Vector, but My Vector was built for the sponsors. This website was built for family members. Active duty sponsors and their EFMP family members both have the ability to call the Total Force Center by these phone numbers. And it tells you active duty sponsor members will select 1 and 4 to get with a representative to just like I said, send me an email. Marcia said, just reach out and tell me, reach out and tell them what you're concerned about. Sure, sometimes they're going to say you need to talk to your EFMP office, or you need to talk to your family support, or, you know, but you can get to them. It used to be, I'm briefing this, I hope in the future an assignments person is briefing this, not because I don't think it's important and there's not a medical piece in it, but they were making it a medical thing when it's not. And so this is how you get to them. And then they can help you, and this talks about application status, question checks, program information. EFMP family members will press 7, and that's how they'll get in. But one more slide, Marcia. The central cell can provide lots of expert guidance, not just for assignments or reassignments, legal, family support, medical, special education needs, and reach back to base level partners to help connect, right resources. I can't get through, I haven't gotten my answer. Reach out to them. Again, please do it. It's important to note that inquiries that the result specific application process might not get an answer that day. It might be, okay, we're going to look into that. We're going to have the assignment navigator. We're going to have the person contact you back. Okay, let's just see if there's any more slides. I thought, okay, good. This is the email. Again, anyone can use this email. Dependents can use this email also. This is their organizational box. I can't believe this. This is incredible. This is the central cells organizational box. This is a number. And if you go onto their DAF EFMP Facebook page, I think if I'm still a dependent or an active duty member, I would almost start there. If you don't like Facebook, that's fine. Use the other things. But there's like a button to submit messages, and there's a constant flow of what other family members have been asking and needing. And every Facebook Live is recorded. So there's some really great things that. Okay, whew, that was a lot. Let's get to the questions. Is everyone assigned a nurse case manager, or are you, Ms. Summers, the case manager? This is great. I am your first contact for that. If your PCM isn't able to handle something, or that's not working, or you think you need more, they will oftentimes get you to EFMP to make sure we're talking to you about it. But at nurse case management is a referral process. And so normally you don't get nurse case management until you are enrolled in EFMP. That doesn't mean you can't get support. But when you get to that point, you will be assigned a nurse case manager in the clinic who will now manage your case. And so we have them in the same hallway as myself, but you certainly can come to me with your question, but the first line of defense is your primary care manager. What happens when we get a new base through EFMP and our sponsor gets promoted, which at any other time would drive a new assignment? Do we get coded similar to 50? Go ahead and scroll down. Where we have to volunteer to move. I imagine that we would have to go through EFMP process again to see what new base and rank. That's a great question, Master Sergeant Beery. And I want to encourage everyone to, when you have this situation, reach out to us, certainly, but reach out to your command and reach out to an MPF function. Don't look for just one office to solve this, because so many people have a piece in this. There are certain EFMP movements like EFMP reassignment that require certain things when it comes to how long you have in service, how long you have on assignment, you know, if you're going to retire within a year. There are also changes like Master Sergeant Beery is talking about. So I don't have a set answer. I'd have to look at each individual one, and then I'd have to reach up to my people and type your name and what's going on with you. I also have contacts to different offices in the central cell to find out what that would do. And I'm going to say, you call me, let's get your command involved. You know, what, you know, do you have a functional manager? Do you have access to your functional manager? Let's get that assignment navigator who might have been involved, you know, in the assignment or in the reassignment. So we're going to want to raise that question. So that's really great. So if you really have that question specifically about you, please email me, Master Sergeant Beery.
Okay, any other questions? Put it in the chat. And anything else too? It's after 4 o'clock. Thank you for attending. Oh, we got another question. With the warm handoff to the new base, how do we minimize the gap in care and ensure continuity of care for our child?
This is great, Erin. This is one of our top 3 that we and the central cell is looking at next, because recognizing that there's the great family support handoff process and there's this great clearance you did through EFMP. But how do we get to the point, if it can be gotten to, because TRICARE is an insurance company, how do we get to the point where we can set up or help the family set up everything at the next space before going? And this is the answer I'm always given. First of all, if that person is at a point where they're receiving the nurse case management services, then that nurse case manager is doing that. If this person is an EFMP reassignment, then that EFMP reassignment that went to that special needs coordinator, special needs tech at that base, they should be sharing that all with their nurse case management services, because a lot of people, not everyone, but a majority of people who are reassigned need that. When it comes to regular EFMP families, this is where we have to get TRICARE savvy. We have a lot of options, and TRICARE International SOS just did a new contract. I don't know if anybody knows about the Defense Health Agency and how military medical care is changing, but I was just getting ready to tell Marsha this, and this is going to be a big thing. Marsha and Lily will light it up, and I'll be there with you. There's going to be an app, and it's not going to be your only way. Some people don't like that. There's going to be an app for TRICARE. And it's going to be international SOS specific, but it's going to also show the other places. There's already TRICARE online that you can get into. There's phone calls. It is possible. And I don't want it to just do it. I want to tell you to get with TRICARE. Come in and see me. We'll figure out who to talk to. But it is possible to change your region ahead of time and start to contact care. And more stateside bases are not having military medical treatment facilities for civilians. So a lot of your care will be that way anyways, because it'll be on the economy. So it will take some advocating and some work on your part, but it's one of 3 new pamphlets I'm trying to make. And we have a what is it called, Marsha? That great thing you send out in the EFMP and preparing to PCS.
Oh, in the EFMP and
Yeah.
PCS.
So the medical team is coming up with certain things, and that's one of our new briefings, or one of our new pamphlets that I'm just making, because I'm tired of people not having this information. So I love that you brought this up, Erin. But it will talk to you about exactly, where to go and what to do, and can you switch to, I'm trying to remember East Coast, West Coast, can you switch to Humana or the TRICARE stateside, and the TRICARE here has patient support teams, we just got briefed by one. They're going to have to come back multiple times because we only got through one of their sections, but there are teams of people. And so you can already match to nurse case management support in TRICARE West to help you with care, or start to find a PCM, have that PCM start to write referrals before you even leave here. I wish the system was set up to do it for you. Unfortunately, is not yet, but this is a great question, Erin. If I didn't answer it, please type more. Okay, super.
Okay. Well, we're gonna call an end to that. It's also, if you need anything or any other questions, do reach out to us, and we can answer them through emails too. Thank you for attending.
Thank you.
A new process that we'll learn and grow from. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, cute.
Oh,
That was sweet.
that made my day.
I know.